We should probably talk about Winona Earp.
There's something in the air.
I watched yesterday at the gym, so apologies in advance. My notes are once again very scattered, and I was like writing something down and I couldn't get the full quote in, and that's when, and I tweeted this yesterday. I was like, I'll look that up later, or I won't, I'll figure it out. I'm like, if you're here for a thoughtful, well-researched podcast, you've come to the wrong place.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched it like yesterday morning, and I didn't take any notes. So
I watched it like 30 minutes ago, and that was why I was late.
I woke up and somebody was trying to like chisel into my brain. I took just a bunch of Excedrin. Probably too much Excedrin.
You're never going to sleep again.
I wonder if they were trying to scissor into your brain.
I mean, quite possibly.
Shaking my head, and I'm not going to make any further comments about scissoring.
It's probably fair.
I think that's a good idea. Let's try and keep it clean. How many times can we say the word cunt this week?
1. Keep going.
Cunt Watch 2018.
2.
It makes more sense than the weather.
Hey, fuck you.
I meant
the Weather Watch is
my
great.
Gosh. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Weather Watch. I'm saying that makes more sense than the weather in Purgatory. You need to calm down, okay?
I had a second cup of coffee. Michelle delayed us, and I was like, well, I need to do something, so I made a second cup of coffee.
I am very sorry. I like woke up and was like, oh my God, I'm just never going to get out of bed. And then like I heard like the notifications from you guys, and I was like, fuck, we're supposed to make a podcast.
Nothing but professionalism here.
It was
nothing but.
Are we using Audacity? Are we still doing that?
Nah.
Okay.
No.
I mean, can't we just go off one time?
I mean, that's fine with me. It saves me 4 button clicks.
I mean, I would assume if
I'm sorry.
So let's talk about the episode.
Okay, well, the button clicks have been saved. Okay, so let's see. Winona Earp, 107. So at the very, very beginning, right? All I could think about was you guys, because the blacksmith is putting the salt all over the floor. And I was like, so salty.
I mean, yeah. My self-given title is Salt Hater, so.
It's true. And BP, sometimes you need to borrow that, I think.
Occasionally.
Oh, I borrowed it this week. Yeah, it was
occasionally
bad.
I grant ownership to that title for a short time.
A very short time.
Oh, okay. So this is Something in the Air. I'm BP.
Right. I'm Monica.
I'm Michelle, and this is a spoiler-filled Winona Earp podcast where occasionally we actually talk about Winona Earp.
I mean, it's mostly just got spoilers of everything.
It's just us rambling.
Just to give you, it's 11:25. We've been recording for 25 minutes, and we're just now getting around to not talking about Person of Interest. The only thing we talked about prior to this was just to throw around the phrase "scissoring a stripper" and then giggling like,
12-year-old boys.
Yes. Yeah. I want to say first that the title of this episode is Walkin After Midnight, and I love Patsy Cline. So
song.
Super happy.
So let's just keep this on brand. So Walking After Midnight was like so in Pretty Little Liars, Marlene King, the person who created Pretty Little Liars, she so the song they played Walking After Midnight by Patsy Cline, and she went on Twitter and was like, this is it's a huge hint to all of this stuff. It wasn't, but all of us dumbasses spent months speculating on what the fuck Walking After Midnight means. So when I saw this title, I got a little salty.
I bet. Okay,
Well,
so as long as we're going down that rabbit hole real quick,
I'm just gonna walk away.
How
Just
are you
someone sincerely
enjoying
to come
it,
back.
BP?
I fucking hate you. Okay. For some reason, I cannot fathom. I just happened to push play whenever I scrolled across Pretty Little
And now you
Liars
can't
last
stop
night.
watching.
So I'm on episode 6. I want to shoot myself. It is the worst. And I'll
But
let
you-
you know when I finish it.
But you can't stop watching.
It's so bad.
It's a complete, it's a complete garbage show, and I love it so fucking much. Season 3 is like really, really good.
It's terrible.
The back half of season 3 is fucking phenomenal. Talk to you when you get there in a month.
A month,
Like
like
it
a
all
week and a half.
Like
Let's be
I'm-
real here.
when you tweeted
Maybe
that, I was
today.
like, "This is the best news ever." It makes me want to rewatch the entire series.
God.
Well, hop on board.
You're only 6 episodes in. I could catch up
Yeah.
today.
I'm on 6, so
I'll probably finish season 1 today. It's fine.
I mean, I'm going to, but whatever.
Oh, it's such a garbage show. I love it so much.
The opposite of a garbage show
Nice.
is Winona Earp, which is the show that this podcast is about. I don't know if you guys remembered that. So
I
yeah,
mean-
Patsy Cline, really great. I was super excited. I really like Patsy Cline. I have the musical tastes of my mother.
After I got over my salt, I mean, it's a good song.
Speaking of salt, what a wonderful segue. I thought that the shot of the blacksmith like pouring the salt was super cool to start out the episode. Like it was really well shot. It was very interesting. I really liked that a lot.
Yeah, you could see like every grain. It was more like a rock salt looking type, not rock. You know what I mean, though. It wasn't like Morton's
As opposed to Waverly
using it.
grinder. Just like it's not a sodium, like you're not on, the house is not on a light sodium diet. Like take off the lid and pour that shit. Like you don't want her to be able to get past, but she's like like she's making, you know, like a chicken noodle soup that just needs a hint of salt. Are you fucking kidding me? Dying. Like, oh, let me get my salt grinder. Was that next to the yoga mat in your apartment?
I didn't notice that until this watch, and when I saw that, I fucking lost my shit.
There were a couple moments in this episode. So I watched it at the gym when I was working out, and there were a couple moments that I just stopped. Like, I'm on the elliptical, and I'm like, and I watch Legends of Tomorrow at the gym too, and it happens much more often with that show. But this was the salt was one of them. I was like, what? Like, how had I never seen that or didn't remember it? I thought it was really funny, and like, I almost fell off.
I feel like Legends of Tomorrow like has so many ridiculous moments that you'd like elliptical for 2 seconds and stop and be like, wait, what the fuck just happened? And then elliptical for 2 seconds and have to do it again.
What did Sarah Lance just do? That is me all of the time.
Oh my
But
god,
hey,
did she exist?
It yeah, exactly. It gets me exercising much more than I normally would. My last exercise show was called The Midwife, which is an excellent show, but
That's not the same thing.
it is not the same thing. I love Sarah Lance so much, and I'm only a handful of episodes in, but that is another topic for another time.
Maybe
BP,
another
maybe we can do a special this is the shit that Michelle made us watch episode.
That could be its own podcast.
That's what we would just call it. The shit that Michelle made us watch.
I mean,
we
I'd
could-
listen to that podcast. It sounds great.
you would listen, you would just like sit back and laugh because of how you've ruined our lives.
Another topic of discussion yesterday was how I'm a Slytherin and I want to like take over the world. And I was like, yeah, this is on brand. This is another instance of that. Yep, I would do that.
Yes. Yes. you
Okay,
would.
I want the salt thing to be our generator pick for the episode because I do want to say this. She tried to put it at both doorways, right? It was probably 7 grains of salt. That's neither here nor there.
Right.
She put
'cause
it
the
at
salt
both
can't have-
doorways.
the house was retaining water, so she didn't want to
Right.
put too much.
Right. So, but couldn't somebody just like come in the window?
Yes.
What she should have done was a not fucking grind salt. Just put it around the outside of the house.
Yes. I didn't understand why Maddie didn't do that. Like, why she didn't.
Maddie, I like that actress fucking killed it
She
in
did.
this episode. I like was watching it. And I know she's in season 2 as her twin and all that, but I was like, oh my fucking god, this is so good. Such a good performance.
It really is.
And
I
also
love her.
all the bloody eyes in this episode was so awesome.
Who of the writers or like the makeup department, who has a beef with eyes? My god. We have goo eyes, we have dripping goo eyes, we have blood eyes. Like, what's your damage? Come on.
So you need to fly to Calgary, walk into like whatever office and just be like, who the fuck has issues with eyes and what's your damage? And put that.
Yes. Hello,
please-
724 Films. I'm Monica. Perhaps you've heard of me. I would like to know what your damage is.
And we will record that and we'll create our own YouTube channel and it will be a hit.
Right. And then I can record from like prison because they're like, who the fuck are you? Get out. And I'm in Canadian jail.
I mean, Emily Andress loves you, so she wouldn't let you go to jail.
Okay. One of the things I like about this show, like we've talked about the strong female characters, I love how the quote damsel in distress is always Doc Holliday. Winona is always saving him, and he's fine with it. Like, it says that makes me like him as a character more, that he's strong enough to be like, hey, Winona wants to save me every fucking day? Great, bring it on. And I also love that Winona is able to do that and does that. I just think it's really funny how she's always saving him.
I really liked how they brought back the dude from the pilot.
Yes, me too.
And references. She's like, didn't I blow you up with a motorcycle? And I like just cheered.
Didn't take.
It was so good. And that's like what's great about this show. Like they it's not like discrete episodes that are like independent. Like everything like intertwines and works together, and it just makes it so it makes it feel real.
Yes.
I mean,
And
she
I love
call
it so
him
much.
Johnny Come Twicely.
Yes, I believe so.
Yep.
Love it.
And I think we talked about that on an earlier episode, like when they were in the bank and that one dude got shot, and we were like, okay, well, Winona didn't shoot him, so is he just like laying somewhere? And when this guy got blown up, like, is he just, unconscious? Yes, like they get injured, but they heal, it would seem, until she can put them down with Peacemaker.
In this scene I also really liked, so like Winona and John were having their little like snark off before she shot him, and then like when she shoots him they show like Doc trying to get up and he's like tangled in the blanket and almost falls over. I really related to him in that moment.
Oh my god.
The simplest of tasks kill me.
I'm gonna cosplay as Doc. I'm gonna bring a blanket and a hat and be like, what?
You just need to like almost fall over most of the time and it'll be spot on.
I think that I have no problem doing that. I'm not very good at walking.
If I wasn't already cosplaying as Elena, I would do that because I'm really good at falling and hurting myself.
Cosplaying as Elena, aka being yourself.
Existing in this world, it's fine.
I love how no
Anyways.
matter. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just
No,
awkward transition.
I was drinking coffee. I blame that.
I was just gonna say, I love how emotionally invested Doc is, and how evident it is from how hard he tries to hide that.
But he still refuses to help her. Which I
Because
kind
he
of
doesn't want to be emotionally invested.
He's trying to, his sense of self-preservation is strong. Like, he knows riding out that seventh guy is going to put an even bigger target on his back, and he's laying out sleeping in a tent next to it. Well, he was sleeping next to a tent.
Yeah, what the fuck's the point of the tent?
I don't know how camping works, but I'm pretty sure that that's not it. But what do
Well,
I know?
Well, when you have only like a rag as a blanket, as Doc does, sleeping by the fire makes sense, and you don't want your tent too close to the fire because that shit will go up in flames. So maybe he was just like trying to make the best of like the shittiest situation. He could have bought a blanket, like an actual like sleeping bag.
With his pirate booty? Do you think the tent was in the well with him? I have a lot of questions.
Listen, the tent is holding the generator, okay?
Maybe Doc. Nope, that sounds creepy. I'm not saying it. Anyway, I like that she turned him down. That he turned her down. Excuse me. Just
I like it
because-
too. It kind of like his arc in this episode is excellent. And this is just like the first part of it, and it sets everything up so well.
Waverly says heroes always win, but this show shows us that a hero it's not always a straight line.
She had a very Herald black and white view of things, and I think by the end of it, she figured out that everything isn't black and white.
Yes.
Only took him 5 fucking seasons. She did it in 1 episode.
Oh my god.
So I thought you said like Herald like as an adjective, like heralded, and I was trying to figure out what you meant. I was just letting you go with it because you really seem like now I'm on board.
I'm sorry, I should have said Harold in his fucking glasses.
Then I would have known.
My mistake.
But as we talked about last week, I'm most like Harold, and that just makes me sad. Though I am wearing my fucking glasses right now. Speaking of heroes, Constance Clutie is an excellent villain. She really is. Like, she just, I don't know. I just really like her.
I wish that she would have killed Tucker instead of Tucker killing her. Like, I would love to have her back.
Agree.
Her and her
Agree.
husband, like, wrecking shop all over Purgatory. Yes,
Pretty
please.
sure if her husband wants to bring her back, she'll be back.
I mean, she doesn't have a head.
Eh,
And she's also a little dehydrated.
it's fine. It's fine. Low
They
sodium
basically
diet.
turned her into, like, jerky.
Would he just bring her back to kill her though? Because I mean, she's the one that like cursed him. She was involved in that.
That's true. Oh, forgot about that.
Don't think he's a big fan.
Actually, that would make it all the better because like, Waverly and Winona would just be like sitting on the sideline watching them battle it out. Like, do we intervene or do we just let them kill each other? I don't. What's the best course of action here?
Popcorn and whiskey.
Always. Always the best course of action.
Speaking of whiskey, Winona and that bottle of whiskey this week, ship of the week.
I'll allow it. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Nona.
Like she had that shit everywhere. I like when she like put it down like on the morgue table and Nicole was like, okay, this isn't quite with protocol. Let me just put this down on the ground.
But then Nicole, officer by the book, fucking tips it back and gets drunk with her at work.
That's one of my favorite scenes of this entire season.
Top shelf, that one.
Yes.
That's probably definitely my favorite Nicole scene of the entire season.
Just the two of them just like kind of being both people that don't really share and just kind of like letting their walls down with no preconceived notions, just sitting there and being like, I feel left out too. Is this kind of, I don't know. I really think it was a much deeper scene than people
Opal,
give
what are
it
you
credit for.
doing? What are you doing?
Opal disagrees with
Opal's
your
like
assessment of
actually
this
trying to
movie.
climb up on top of the desk. Say hi, Opal. Don't lick the mic. That's disgusting.
I
Okay.
think when Michelle tells her not to lick the mic, she's really licking the mic and she just doesn't want people to know.
No, Opal is just lick this. It wasn't cheap, Opal. That was gross. Anyway,
This week's That Bitch Award goes to Opal.
she's
Licking the mic.
This week's That Bitch Award goes to Stephanie.
Stephanie, that bitch. When-
Easily.
when
Even
she-
though at some point I wrote her name down as Samantha. Because that's how little I care about her.
when like I forgot that she dies in this episode, and I was just like, what the like, where does this bitch go? Like, does she get married or does she like throw herself off a cliff because she's obviously miserable? No, she gets her neck snapped. It's fine.
Nice.
So they've alluded to in previous episodes Champ cheating on Waverly before, I believe. And I've always wondered if he slept with her.
Oh, definitely.
I mean,
I would believe
I'm
that.
sure he's made his way around.
He probably slept with everybody.
Well, yeah.
Maybe not Chrissy Nedley, Monica's favorite character. She seemed to
she's
be
not-
a decent person.
She's not my favorite character, but like one of my favorite tertiary characters.
We have Kirsten, you have Chrissy Nedley.
It's true. She's such a great supervillain. I love that she hid in the closet and then was like, sorry. I don't know.
Oh,
She's not as like seems like a genuine friend until
Yes.
the town goes insane.
Well,
But-
yeah, but I don't think that's necessarily her fault, and I don't think Waverly would hold that against her.
Oh no, definitely not. But like I was, because all I remember is Christy Nedley from the finale where she's a little off her rocker. But here I was like,
Where she-
oh wait, like she's actually Waverly's friend.
well, I mean, yes and no. She literally came out of the closet and said, my dad always said to put as much room as you can between you and like everyone else in the house.
All right, nobody in
AKA, like,
purgatory.
let them get serial killed first.
Nobody in
like,
purgatory is a quote unquote good person.
That's true.
But she seemed like Stephanie was just a giant raging bitch.
Yes.
And Chrissy appeared to care about Waverly like even the tiniest bit.
It seemed like Stephanie just came to her house just to make fun of her and to lord her engagement over her. And I don't know, there were no.
I really like how they were like treating Champ as if he was some sort of prize.
Ugh,
Like if you
Booby.
guys want him, you can have him.
booby prize. Hard
You can-
pass.
Go open a bar in Buenos Aires.
What really
Your Hispanic
caught
heritage
me-
showing through on that, Michelle.
I know.
What really caught me is when they were talking about her standing up to him when he was younger, and she was like, he really was like a dick and 3/4 back then. And I was like, nothing's changed, honey.
No.
It might have gone
Follow
up
up.
actually.
Follow-up question: why don't we call people a dick and 3/4 more often? I'm gonna write that down.
Add that to your vocabulary.
Yeah. Because if there's one thing I love talking about, expressions.
Wow, that was way funnier than it should have been.
Right? I'm hilarious.
You can
I'm
go
laughing
now.
way too hard. I blame all the Excedrin.
I blame my second cup of coffee. I'm gonna have to go and like run around the house a little bit. So we saw this a little bit, when it happened in the last episode. But Curtis is like, Waverly, don't tell anyone about this skull, and she puts it on the fucking mantle.
I thought that too. Like it's supposed to be a secret, and you're displaying it. And anybody who asks, like, "What's that skull?" She's like, "Oh, well, let me tell you. My uncle left it to me, and I was bound to it by the stone or by
The lady blacksmith.
the blacksmith." It's like
And
she doesn't know what a secret means.
also,
No.
she is like the smartest fucking person on the show. And she didn't realize that skull wasn't human.
I know the teeth.
It took Doc Holliday. Well, I guess Doc Holliday was a dentist, so maybe that's where his home.
I mean, he just looked at the skull.
Yeah.
I think Waverly was more caught up in like this, like symbolically what the skull meant. Like somebody believed in her in that. She didn't really take a moment to look at how the fact it's not human. But Waverly throwing the skull against like the barn gave me life.
It was so good. It was so good.
Like I was like, Waverly, we are the same person at this moment, because I would have thrown that thing too.
I think that portion actually, it's so hard because there was a lot of good lines in this episode, but I think my favorite was when she kind of hurt her hand and she was like, I'll never play piano again. Winona's like, do you play piano? And she's like, no. Winona's like, no, because she knew, and she was just like, honey, that's not a thing.
It's like they have these things that have to happen in each episode. Like, they're breaking it down and it's like, okay, we have to do this thing with the skull and this thing with Duck and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but the writers know the characters so well that they're able to fill in that little stuff. And it just, there's not a single wasted line in this show.
That just reminds me of me because I've always wanted to learn to play guitar and I'm just really not that good at it. And when I was 24, I broke my left ring finger like really bad to the point that it's still jacked up. And I'm like, yeah, I can't play anymore. People were like, could you play before? I'm like, not really, but it's too late now. So
I
have one and my Bluetooth headphones hang on it. So that's important.
That's good that you're putting it to good use.
Mine is in my basement. I can't play it. I tried real hard.
Man, you guys should do, like, as a reward for our Patreon subscribers, you guys should put on like a virtual concert and play guitar with each other.
I can play like the first bit of Stranger Things Have Happened by the Foo Fighters. That's it.
That is extremely specific.
I've got
really
more
like
than
that song.
words. I can do more than words.
Oh my god, of course. I can vocalize
What is
dueling.
that supposed to mean?
You know what it means. I can vocalize dueling banjos, which BP found out about today. So I really think between the three of us, we can make magic happen. Maybe Megan will come on and drum for us to keep the beat. It'll be great.
It'll just be Megan drumming really loudly while we just make noise.
That seems pretty accurate, actually.
That's pretty on brand for us.
Listen, I know like a lot of chords. I just can't really make them do anything together.
I feel like that's a metaphor for my life.
Yeah.
Like, I know all this random shit. Can't do anything important or good or anything with it, but that's fine. It's fine. I'm fine.
So, bringing things back to Winona Earp real quick, just for a second.
Is that why we're here?
I mean, kind of. I really liked that. I don't know if it was Chrissy or Stephanie. I don't know who said it, but they said something and then like is balls, and I really liked because that's like Waverly's like awesome line. Frankly, the situation is balls. Like she got that from her friends.
Aw.
That's all I had. The rest of the episode
what's
is nothing.
up with? Okay, so
With Stephanie, your murder
Stephanie.
house reception is balls.
Thank you.
Stephanie sucks, and she's that bitch. But like, legit, why did she even come there? Because you said like, okay, she came to like make fun of Waverly. That's fine, whatever. Do that at a different time, because this is supposed to be like your bachelorette party. So like, you're the pathetic one for showing up there and not having anything else to do. If all you're gonna do is like make fun of her.
I feel like she had like her real bachelorette party already.
Definitely.
And she's just like appeasing Waverly because like Waverly was talking about going to the big city to get dresses and whatnot. They're like, oh yeah, we already did that. So I feel like she's just placating Waverly by showing up on like, but really she's just there to like make herself feel better about her miserable life because she thinks Waverly's life is miserable.
She sucks.
She's garbage.
She's like Regina George on crack.
I'm sorry, Regina George had more class than Stephanie.
Well, yeah, but not if you put a bunch of crack in her.
Touche.
Someone remind me next time to have a second cup of coffee before we record.
That reminds me, yesterday at our painting thing, one of the people, because everybody changed, like everyone in our group changed, because like the thing that we were supposed to paint, the words were boring. She just put coffee, because crack is bad for you. And when I saw that, I fucking lost it. It was so funny. Also true.
True.
I liked when Waverly's like jumping around decorating the homestead that I thought it was a neat thread between season 1 and season 2, the Earp sisters' obsession with throw pillows.
I thought
Throw
that too.
pillows, man.
And I really
Doc
liked
says something. How many small pillows can one girl need?
just
The
wait,
limit does
Doc.
not exist, Doc. The limit
Just
does
wait
not
until
exist.
you until Winona gets in on the throw pillows.
Yeah.
I really like they so she cuts off like the tag from the pillows. It's like Chekhov's scissors. 'Cause they like obviously like they show her cutting off the tag and sticking it in her dress. And I was like, the first time I saw that, I was like, those scissors are gonna be important because they were on camera for a really long time.
And it was such a random, like, clearly that dress did not have any pockets or a skirt. Like, that outfit had 0 pockets. Like, I understand that.
Chekhov's scissors.
Right. But, like, really? Would you do whatever? Don't care. Makes it work. Go Waverly. Scissor the stripper.
So when Doc comes in, he makes the pillow joke. I love how, because he's been pretty good about, generally about technology up to this point. But when he says your telephone is angry about something, that's fantastic. And then I love that the song that's playing, I Love You Like a Boomerang, he's the one that ends up singing on his way out. And I thought that was actually interesting because that song very, very clearly parallels he and Winona much more than anything that was going on at the house.
Wow, that is very deep. Didn't even occur to me, but that's so true.
Cool, I'm out.
This episode is
Deep
peaked.
thoughts.
It's only downhill from here.
That's right. Don't worry, I'll think of
terrifying.
something really stupid to say, and it will just de-escalate things very quickly.
So I forgot that Lucado was in this episode, and so when I was watching it and I saw Kate Drummond's name like pop up on the screen, I was like, Lucado! I like got real excited.
2 things. 1, did you notice that Dolls called her Sir?
I did, and I retract what I said in the previous episode. It
2,
wasn't art. It was probably Lucado.
Yeah. 2, she ate his Chinese food, right?
I mean, who lets Chinese food go to waste?
But like that's a power move. You go, Lucado.
I like how he like calls Winona's like, hey, change of plans, blah blah blah. And I didn't remember parts of this episode. I mean, I remembered scissoring a stripper, but beyond that, not too much. Priorities. And I was like, oh, he's just like, he had no intention. He was just like blowing her off. But like everything he said to her was genuine. And like he had Chinese food. Like he was being a decent kind of human. And I was really surprised when I saw like the Chinese food. And I was like, well, can't they just leave that at the door? Like
he knew Winona's order. That was freaking cute.
Like I thought that it was all fake. And then when I saw that it was actually like genuine, I was like, oh my God, we're in episode 7. And like, think about Dolls in episode 1. Like we've come a long way.
So back to what you just said a second ago, I just want to interject, not that it's like important to anybody, but I absolutely love it's never stopped us. I love in certain shows, it's always has to do with like some sort of almost like a military hierarchy or something like that, but I absolutely love when they call women sir.
Yes.
Because I feel like it is not it's not defining gender, it's defining respect. And instead of the way, that so often they'll be like ma'am and they're totally speaking down to somebody. I don't know what it is about it, but I love that.
I agree. They did that in Castle, which when we were talking about who he was talking to, like there was, I remember there was a show recently that addressed that she was like, you don't call me ma'am, call me sir. And I couldn't remember it at the time, so I just kind of stayed out of the discussion. But I agree. I liked it. I thought it was cool and it felt very within character and it made sense to me, and it does here too.
Yes, because it's more like a title. It's more like commander or captain or whatever. Like when it's being used that way, I like that a lot. And you're right, Castle. And by the way, Castle is one of the shows that we didn't mention that I have loved for a long time when we did our Q&A.
I liked it in the beginning.
It went on for too long, but that's a whole other thing.
But like the first few seasons were amazing. I mean, I think Nathan Fillion is very charming as an actor. I think that carries a lot of it. But I thought that I think it's pronounced Stana Katic. I don't know. I know that how to spell her name. Yes. Kate. I know how to spell the actress's name. I don't know how to pronounce it. Was just amazing in it. I just really, really liked her.
She was. He provided a levity, but she carried the show.
Yes, I agree. It's one of the few shows that like my mom and I both watched.
Did your mom watch Person of Interest?
Oh my god.
No, my mother-in-law watched that show. She watched Person of Interest for John.
Yep.
And moving on.
Yeah. Also, when I said something about like sexual tension between Root and Shaw, she was like, I don't really think that they played it that way.
They didn't play it that way. That's just the way that it was.
But she didn't see it at all, and it was just amusing to me how we watched the same show and got completely different things out of it. She is also watching Wynonna Earp, by the way. She's behind. She has like a giant list of shows that she watches. She also used to watch Arrow, but I think finally gave it up.
That's because that show is garbage.
It's amusing to me. I'm like, Chris, your mother is like a 17-year-old girl. What do you mean she watches Arrow?
Did she stop watching when they killed Sarah Lance? Spoiler alert. When they killed Sarah Lance?
I don't remember.
That happened, and I was like, nope, this show is trash. I didn't watch another episode.
I think it was last year. I don't remember. I think she just ran out of time. There's only so much time she had in the day.
Maybe she just really didn't like it when they killed Laurel, Sarah's sister, because that show hates women.
What I love is how
Sarah
your
found a better
opinions are never emotionally driven.
I have a lot of issues with the show Arrow.
I like where Sarah Lance ended up.
I mean, it worked out. Well, you know what? You just need to keep watching Legends of Tomorrow. When you catch up, we'll have a conversation.
It's gonna be a while. Nick was like, you can totally finish seasons 1, 2, and the rest of 3 by Monday. I was like, no, I can't.
Which Nick?
Clone Nick.
Yeah, I mean,
I explained to her how I only watch it at the gym. I would die.
Just need to like super workout, like do like an all-day workout.
Just a casual reminder for our viewers or for our listeners to remember, what I look like. I'm not going to work out all day for 3 days in a row.
I mean, you just walk on a treadmill. That's called working out.
Don't like the treadmill. We've been over this. Wow, I'm going to look at my notes again and try and pull this shit back in.
Yeah, this is off the rails, and it has been since minute 1.
Minute 26.
Right. We're talking about Wynonna Earp. Sorry. We're not just hanging out. My bad.
Sometimes we get too comfortable doing like our Q&A episodes because we can veer off every direction, and then I'm like, oh, it's about the actual show. This is weird.
So
okay, let's bring it back to something super strange. So Clootie bounces in this episode and is like all whatever. She's been missing her sons for 130 years. And I just want to point out, based on a lot of the shows that I have ever watched or have been watching lately, I've made a decision or an observation that the longer you live, the more incestuous you seem to get. So like maybe people should trade in this immortality thing.
I mean,
I guess it's good we haven't met any of Doc's family.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
I think that Clootie's relationship with her sons has not changed that much over the years. That's just my hypothesis.
Yikes.
I was amused when she was torturing Maddie and was like, taunting her with water. Like, Maddie doesn't have a fucking glass. You need a bucket and a ladle?
I'm going to cut that to where it just says I was amused when she was torturing Maddie and see if anybody thinks you're crazy.
No, I mean, I was amused by that entire situation. It was really funny. Both actors were killing it. And all their eyes were bleeding.
What is your damage? Oh,
All of the bleeding eyes. I was also really curious. So, like, Maddie ended up, like, giving her Waverly's name. She didn't kill her. She, like, injured her in, like, a deadly way and just, like, left her there so that she could make her way over to the homestead and warn them that Clooney was coming. Like,
yeah.
just kill her. Like, snap her neck. It's done. Problem solved.
Also,
She like probably would have succeeded in killing Waverly and getting her son's skull. Not that I want that to happen, but like supervillain logic is very often flawed.
so Doc, terrified by the ringing telephony, is like stumbles upon a lady blacksmith with bleeding eyes and is like, "Oh, okay, sure, no problem. Gallows silk on it. That's fine. That's a normal day." Okay.
Dude, telephonies are terrifying.
They really
mean,
are.
Yeah, when someone calls you, because it means you have to actually talk to them. That's the worst.
Anytime I get an actual call on my phone, I like it scares me and confuses me because who actually calls people anymore?
BP, let's call her.
I'm not gonna answer.
Doesn't
I like
matter.
to talk to certain people. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah,
there are very few
generally.
people that I talk to on the phone, but it's like my doctor called me and I was like, "What? Wait, what? How, your secretary? I don't understand what's happening."
Can't you just email me? Like, what the hell?
It was. I just have issues. I don't like dealing with humans.
I
talked to
changed my
mom.
ringtone to the Orphan Black theme, so at least it's not like jarring when it's not like
Oh, that's a good one.
like
That's a
so it's
really
very
good one.
chill.
Mine's the Imperial March. I jump every
Yeah.
time. And the 3 people I talk to on the phone consistently, my mother, my wife, and Doc Stash.
I was gonna say Doc Stash is on that list.
She is on that list.
I like so I have an Amazon Alexa thing, and when anybody like comes to my door, I tell her to play the Imperial March, so it's in the background when I open the door. It's
Just
super.
an FYI for any of you planning to visit Michelle as a surprise in Iowa. That's gonna happen.
It's so dumb, but it makes me happy. So whatever. Judge me all you want.
What if we showed up at her house and like she put that on inside, but as soon as she opened the door, we were like already playing it?
My head would explode. It's fine.
Then we'd have to clean it up. I guess we shouldn't do that.
Nah, it's like putting pasta in a microwave.
A can of spaghetti.
Whatever.
Great Doc holiday impression, said no one.
All right, so Winona Earp this episode.
Let's go deeper for a second. Can we? I'm gonna throw deeper out. I don't know. It could just be as simple as the fact that Waverly was linked to her son, but I didn't notice the first time I watched it because there was so much we didn't know about the future that when she said, like nobody hurt Waverly and she said, "Curious, I gave them no command to spare you." And I wondered if it was because, okay, she's linked to the son, or if it points more to her origins.
I took it that it was because she says that, and then Waverly says because the blacksmith like bound us together, whatever she says. I think that it's just because it's like Doc and Clooney, how they're bound together. So if like one hurts the other, they get hurt themselves. Sorry. Oh, Opal, can you stop? Sorry, that was a very jarring thing. She's crying.
So do we
Talk
take
amongst
that to
yourselves.
mean then? Do we take that to mean that the zombies saw her as the son, which they were trying to find, sort of thing? Like, is she cloaked somehow? I still think it has something to do with her origin.
I mean, it very. Opal, stop.
I mean, they were
very
moving
well
pretty
could be.
slowly. Maybe they just didn't get to her yet.
It's okay, Clooney. We're on it.
We're getting there. Calm down, bitch. Like,
We'll
give us
make
a
it there
minute.
in 4 to 6 hours.
You try being a zombie and running through the freezing cold.
God, it's like calling AAA. Jesus. Not salty this week, not at all.
I really liked that Chrissy wanted to, like, so they talk about playing poker, and it's insinuated that they play strip poker, and she's like, I would rather play with pennies. It's like with her dad, all these little things you see over the course of several episodes just form, a full picture of characters, and I thought that was really cute and amusing. Also, who delivers a package at midnight? Now I realize that the other two were like, ooh, a stripper. Fine. But then he starts dancing, and like I think that I'm a more convincing stripper than this guy was.
Yeah, I have a problem with you calling that dancing.
Wait, so he was not a stripper, right?
Oh my God, Michelle.
Because that was like the least convincing stripper of all time. I was like, maybe Clooney just like grabbed a random dude and like sent him over there.
No, he was not a stripper.
No. And nor did they order one.
Okay. Well, it was confusing for me when I watched it when I was half asleep. I was like, he's like, he's not a stripper, but now he's being a stripper. And I didn't think that Clooney had control of him yet.
Yeah, he was one of her minions.
But but like, it seemed like she didn't have control over stuff until like the witching hour hit.
But he still worked for her.
Correct.
Because he showed up with her earlier in the episode. He was with her at Maddie's, right?
Oh, he was one of those guys. He looked super nerdy, and he looked like somebody I knew, like from a different show, and I got real distracted by it.
So no.
Sorry, not sorry. I didn't
really
notice.
A stripper.
Let's transition again.
Again.
So Clooney's outfit was a bit much.
Disagree. It was just the right amount.
I missed Bobo. That's kind of his area.
The
too muchness, if you will.
They go coat shopping together, I think.
Oh, he is one of the minions. Sorry,
oh
I'm
my God.
Do you even watch this show?
For me.
I'm having trouble getting past this. I'm trying.
How did I not notice that before?
Oh, honey.
I really liked that. I really like how they're fostering a friendship, or at least some kind of relationship between Nicole and Winona. I like their relationship in general. Like it got even more interesting, like at the bar in the second season. But I always use as my prime example of like a one-note character who's just a main character's significant other. My example is always Willow and Tara. And this is just so much better than that. Like they're really trying. And I love them together. I like that Winona accuses Nicole of being, of working for the killer. Like, and Nicole is an appropriate amount of salty in return, I think. Like I just like it all. I like all of that interaction with them. I like Waverly and Nicole together. I love seeing both of them with other people on screen. Like it's always interesting to see how they interact with each other. And I really liked what they're doing with this. They're trying to cement Nicole as part of the cast and part of this found family as more than just, Waverly's whatever and then eventual girlfriend.
Yeah, I love that scene. I love their whole storyline in this. Like it's basically the two of them, off on the B plot or A, whichever way you want to flip those. There's basically two A plots, if that makes sense.
I would say that Winona's plot is the B plot by far, because it's just setting up the next episode.
Exactly. I don't think you realize how important it is until the very end when you get to that cliffhanger. Because a B plot usually is just a B plot, but it's setting up like a crazy A plot for 108.
Yeah. I like one of the things that I thought was funny. So they go into the morgue, obviously. Winona tells the dude to wear a bell, which I mean, that would be nice. Who goes to a morgue at night? That's a different story. But what cracked me up is, so there's 3 bodies in there, right? And they go to like find this girl. The other 2 of them are huge guys. But Nicole is checking the tags on their feet to see which body is which. Like, they are gigantic males. It's just like, okay,
I mean,
dude, whatever.
Nicole's really about following procedure,
She is. She is.
ignoring the whole drinking on the job thing.
Well, that's fine.
Oh, and I also decided, though, whenever Winona started kind of accusing Nicole, like maybe she's working for him. And I know like not everybody's a revenant, but I think if I were Winona, I would take a day and just go point Peacemaker at fucking everybody. Just kind of see
what
how
happens.
that panned out.
Or
But the
invite
thing
everyone
is-
to the homestead for a party and see who can actually make it there.
That would work better because isn't it like Peacemaker is finicky? It's like she needs to have the actual intent of killing the person for it to light up. So she could like walk around purgatory like aiming the gun at everybody and nothing would happen. Maybe.
Don't rain
We
on
don't
my
know.
parade.
We don't know what Peacemaker does.
But what did we in the previous episode? Because didn't she point it at Fish and it didn't glow because she didn't actually intend on killing him?
Took a while.
Well, we don't know that was why, theoretically, but that is what we did decide.
That-
Yes.
Sentient gun. Damn it. So confusing.
It is. But it's kind
You're
of
like a
great.
walking bumper sticker is one of my favorite lines in this.
Yes. And where
episode.
Winona's like, you should spend more time with my sister, and Nicole's like, yep.
I agree.
But it's our first appearance of oblivious Winona.
We should be hanging out with you. Yep.
Yep, sure should. Wink.
Nicole's like, I'm completely on board with this plan. You should make it happen.
Yeah. Time to check the notes again.
So, one, I had 2 like couple random things. Well, these are all random.
Every single moment of this fucking podcast this week is random.
I feel like we're gonna miss half the episode.
Whatever, who cares?
It's fine. Everyone's seen it.
Yeah,
I
if you
thought it
haven't
was funny.
why are
when-
you listening to this?
I thought it was funny when she was talking to Dolls on the phone, and she's like, "If there's a gun pointed at you, say pomegranate." And I was like, "Oh, tacos are tasty." We just have these like random lines of people being in trouble. My question was back at the beginning when the amusing torture was occurring between Clutie and the blacksmith. She mentioned that she had a tumor, and I was curious to see if we thought that was like meaningful, like if that's almost like she kind of sacrificed herself in the midst of this episode because she was going to die anyway.
I think it's possible. It also is interesting too, like in season 2's alternate universe episode, her sister blames Winona for Maddie dying, but Maddie was gonna die anyway. You know? Like that's what I was thinking of. That she was
Right.
she had a time limit, but maybe that is why she decided to who knows what she did to be able to go to the homestead and warn them.
Right. Well, I guess, I mean, she didn't necessarily choose to be subjected to the complete torture. I just thought it was interesting. They don't usually have throwaway lines, and I was just curious. You know?
I
I
actually
didn't know if it was more like a demonstration of Clutie's power, or if it was something just to indicate like she wasn't going to make it anyway, or
sorry, I was distracted by Opal. So if I repeat something, you can just cut this out. When I saw that this time, I didn't catch it the first time. When I saw it this time, I paused and I thought about it for a while because there's so many different layers to that. A, it could just be that Clutie's flaunting her powers. B, Maddie knows and is sacrificing herself. In which case, no matter what, if it's true, her sister's revenge plot in season 2 is, well, it was stupid to begin with, but it is even more futile because had the ERPs not interfered with her sister's life at all, it would have still ended.
Okay, but let's be honest, and
Okay.
this is just a thought. And I know that you can look back through and they pick up a lot of threads, but I don't know that I believe that she had a sister at this point.
No, I disagree. I think she always had a sister.
I
Sorry, I feel very strongly.
so Monica just
You
basically
know
said,
what I
"Fuck you,
mean?
DP."
Oh my god, no.
No comment. I don't know, because this is one of those instances where I don't think the writers knew she had a sister. I think that the
That's what I
writers
meant.
the writers
sorry,
fell in love with the actress and were like, we need to bring her back, and they created, or they found a way to bring her in, especially when they found out that like Melanie Scrofano was pregnant. They're like, oh, perfect, let's bring her back, and we're gonna do this whole nonsensical plot line because she's ready to pop. But
You say nonsensical, I say amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great, but it definitely at this point, like, she did not have a sister.
Yeah, that's what I meant. And I thought Monica
In, like,
was
the mythos
joking
of the
about
show,
that,
she
but
did not have a sister yet.
neither here nor there.
But-
I don't know if I agree. I'm just not sure.
I don't think that the writers of the show.
No, now I understand where you're at. Listen, I've gotten into and seen some arguments about the alternate universe that I'm like, what the obviously a spell has nothing to do with that. So, sorry.
We could have an entire, not even a mini-sode, like a full-on episode about that alternate universe.
We could. It was amazing, and I loved it.
We will when we get to 211.
And that's gonna be like a 5-hour podcast.
Maybe someday we'll get to 211.
Which you can edit.
No, we'll just do it. Just no editing.
Did you just maybe someday us?
Did
Ruh-roh.
That's just fucking rude.
Yeah,
I think the
and you're
cunt
just
count's about to go up.
cunt count. Or
I like how, like, for the entire duration of this podcast, you guys are going to use that word 1,000,000 times, and I will not use it once.
just like last time.
It's not a great word, really.
I can't use it. Like, I feel really uncomfortable using it. I don't mind when other people use it, but I just can't. Which is odd, because I usually just say whatever.
So Clutie tells Waverly that there's an evil in this world far greater than your revenants.
Mm-hmm.
And it's coming. So do you think she's talking about her husband?
I think
Yes.
she's talking about her kids.
Or does she know that that Mikshin is on his way? Or
There are so many evils that are way worse than revenants that the show's already popped up.
Yeah.
She could be talking about literally anything.
I immediately thought of Buffy. If you haven't watched Buffy and you're going to or are, I'm about to drop a very big spoiler.
Also, it's been 20 years.
Okay, well, yeah. Anyway, I immediately thought of Buffy. And in season 2 or 3, where the first was there, and you're like, oh, how about that? And then all of a sudden, it's the big bad 5 years later.
Yep.
Like, that's what I thought of. Like, I don't know. I wondered if it was something like that, or it isn't, and they're talking about one of the things we were talking about.
No, that was just when they ran out of big bads.
Right.
You go from dead Christmas trees to like the ultimate evil.
Yes. The ultimate evil,
Who
personified.
can't do anything.
Who only talks to Nathan Fillion. It's probably, if the ultimate evil were real, they would probably only want to talk to Nathan Fillion too. It's fine. Makes sense.
Totally tracks.
There was one other thing. Oh, I like how Winona and Waverly both apparently seem to come and go often through windows. Like, Waverly slipped out the window from the second floor?
Well,
Doc's
the doors had all the salt, so
well, sure, I guess she couldn't come in.
Can't Can't disturb that.
It just made me chuckle. That light dusting of salt. It just made me chuckle.
I feel like the amount of salt that she put down, it'd kind of like give Clooney like a little zap, but not stop her.
Right. Just a tiny case of the zaps.
I'm just referencing the fucking My Favorite Murder Show we saw. Little zaps are okay, big zaps are bad.
Big zaps are bad.
You probably want to cut this part out.
Whatever. Nope. I like passive aggressive Doc in this episode when he tells stupid Stephanie that hostess is only as good as her company.
Yes.
I was like, zing!
Doc was great in this episode, and we've hardly talked about him at all. Like, don't be cross, I got wood. Great line. His delivery, also great. When he winks at Waverly, when she wins the hand, that he very clearly made happen. I liked that. I really liked him in this episode. There's just so much other stuff going on.
I just love them. They're one of my favorite relationships on the show. Like the amount of his guard that he lets down around Waverly I think it's unintentional. And that's what makes it so cool. And for her to tell him at the end, I mean, she just like will lay into him, which I think is great too. And when she tells him like, you want to know your tell, like you're always lying.
This episode
that burns.
This episode was basically like a highlight character study of Doc Holliday. Like shit happened, like people died, strippers were scissored, lots of things happened. But like I think at its core this was just like a Doc Holliday episode because you start with Doc and Winona having their whole situation in the woods where he won't help her, and it grows and you see him like starting to cultivate this relationship with Waverly. Yes, he needed something, but I don't know, she just sees through his bullshit. And when she tells him that his tell is that he's always lying, like it's just like the pinnacle of the episode.
Agreed.
Opal, what the oh, sorry. Opal's eating something weird. I'll be right back.
Yeah, please don't edit that out either.
Get out of here. Go. Get out. Go. Go. Out.
This was all over the place.
I love it. I don't even care. I don't know. It's funny and it made me laugh. So I don't think people like listen to our podcast for calm, logical, step-by-step breakdowns of what happened in an episode.
Yeah. Well, as much as there is some deep stuff in general, like in this show, there's not like a ton to break down. You know, I mean, there's a lot more like mythology in a show like Person of Interest or The 100 or whatever, where it's about like political stuff and huge decisions about, you know, religion versus science or the way that we punish people or what makes you a murderer or just like all these crazy things. And this is just like, there are definitely some very deep moments. It's much more about the characters and it's much, but it's also much more fun.
I think all the deep moments of the show is character development driven, not plot driven.
I
if
agree.
That makes sense.
And that's what I like to watch. I was having this discussion at dinner last night. The reason I tend not to watch movies is because I care about character development more than plot development. And you can develop a character so much more in 22 episodes than you can in 90 minutes or 2 hours.
Oh my God. I despise movies. I can't watch them. I mean, like I can watch them if they're superhero related, but I hate movies because I'm all about serialized television. Like I want a story that is like 25 hours long.
Okay, but for you or for anyone, if you have not yet seen the movie Stepsisters on Netflix, you need to go ahead and take the time and watch it. It's like Stomp the Yard, but with a white sorority. It is horrific and hilarious. It's so bad.
All of the movies that you just referenced, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what Stomp the Yard is.
Like what do
You've
you
never seen Stomp the Yard?
I think that we've both made that very clear.
Oh my god.
I don't know what's happening.
It's about a fraternity that's a step team. Like, you know what stepping is, right?
Like walking?
Oh my god. Never mind. I'm fucking done with you guys.
Some people, I think it was Nick again, and VP were tweeting back and forth this morning about the movie Saved. Have you guys seen that?
What's that?
Macaulay Culkin?
I think, was it Macaulay Culkin or Kieran Culkin? Oh, it was Macaulay Culkin. Yes, it's like 10 years old with Mandy Moore, and
It's older than that, I think.
you might be right. Yeah, I think you're right. It's really good. I think I saw that when it came out in the theater. It was the last good movie I ever saw. That's not true.
Pitch Perfect.
I still haven't seen the third one. Man, we really are all over the place today.
I was supposed to go see the third one as a form of torture for my friend, but she somehow weaseled her way out of it. Yes, I'm a horrible person. It's not news. I just Googled stepping. According to Wikipedia, stepping or step dancing is a form of percussive dance in which the participant's entire body is used as an instrument to produce complex rhythms and sounds through a mixture of footsteps, spoken word, and hand claps.
That's a really intense way of just saying, like, it's a lot of clapping and stomping.
Somebody we need, just imagine the learning companies, the more you know thing.
Monica, can we get a banjo here or what?
That's all I know how to do. That's the only thing I kept from growing up where I did.
I just took a sip of water and you did that and I spit it out.
Nice.
These are going to be great outtakes.
Or entire fucking episode.
Just edit none of this.
Completely off the rails.
Completely off the rails. However, Nicole's cruiser rolling down the road with the doors open and the music playing.
Ugh.
Like, yeah, it's, you know, the show gets the show does get kind of gross and like has a lot of mythology, and a lot of those things, like with the Revenants especially, are creepy and scary. But that, holy shit! And then the music continues over the closing credits instead of the normal music. That was the music that it's playing is perfect. I really liked the choice to let it keep playing over the credits. I'm going to assume that was Andrea Higgins, and it was so great. Like, and it's just the perfect example of something quote unquote normal seeming so scary. I loved it.
I would say that is the scariest moment of the show.
You might be right,
because that's like, yeah, there's gore and it's gross and whatever, blah blah blah, but like that is psychologically fucking you up. I remember when we watched that, like when I watched that episode live and that's how it ended, I fucking lost my shit. I was just like, what the fuck? Well, it was a week of like anxiety, wondering what happened to them. It's just so good. It's the scariest moment of the show.
the thing is, the likelihood of one of us being attacked by a revenant that Wyatt Earp put down, very low. Running into Jack the Ripper and him attacking us, also low. Getting kidnapped, out of our car, yeah, that could happen.
Oh, it's the most real threat.
Yeah.
Because like that could happen. Granted, I feel like your car wouldn't be sitting in neutral with the doors open and like a radio playing. But
shh, it got power from the generator. It's fine.
But it's the most real because it's something that could actually happen.
Yeah.
To us regular people, and it was genuinely scary.
How do you like my B plot now?
Dude, the next episode is, I think it's one of my favorites. And the next episode, I watched live, but I had to be in Chicago for some reason. So I was at my mom's house and I like commandeered the TV. I was like, you guys, like, this is the best show ever. Like, it's great. And I put it on. And it was that episode. And my mom was like, you were just gross sometimes. Like, this show is disgusting.
You know what I
She
like
didn't say
best
that.
about your mom? She gets you.
She didn't say that, but she was just like, she just like looked at me and was like, okay, really? Because it was just, it's a gross episode.
It is, but it's so good.
So I have questions.
And it's funny too.
It was by
My
far
legs, that's
the
what I
best.
walk on.
It was by far the best episode to introduce my family to.
Does your mom watch, or does she just listen to our podcast?
She just listens to our podcast. Hi,
All right.
Mom.
I mean, that's
Aw.
enough. Sorry about that profanity, Michelle's mom.
I know
I
that you
have
didn't actually say the
questions.
things I said you said, but I don't remember what you said, but it was judgy.
What?
I don't know.
No.
I don't remember what she said. I put like words in her mouth and now she's going to listen to
Oh.
it. But she said something and she gave me a look that was just like, really, this is the show.
It's a great
not
show.
a good,
You should
it's
watch
not
it.
a good
Michelle's mom.
episode to introduce someone to Winona Earp with because it's gross.
That's fair.
I have
does-
questions about that last scene.
Okay.
The music was coming from inside the car. So, two things. Is that what they were listening to?
Obviously.
Because that's all I could think was that they were just like driving silently to get pancakes and not talking about anything important yet. And like that's what was playing in the background, which is freaky enough. Or
think
did
It was
Jack change it to that? And even still, regardless of either of those outcomes, what station would have been playing it? Or like, did he bring his own cassette?
yes.
I think he just put on the Pandora station creepy carnival music.
That was a thought that I had too. I just assumed that he set that up to like freak people out because I can't imagine a world where like I don't know, maybe Nicole really loves creepy old carnival shit. I can't imagine a world where like Winona got into a car and that was playing and she was like, yeah, this is fine. She would change it or get out of the car. That music.
She's just really excited for pancakes, guys.
I hear that music and all I think is like clowns, and I hate clowns so much. I don't
You're
like.
Eleanor Shellstrop.
Yeah. Nope.
No,
Does
clowns are
anybody
terrifying.
actually like clowns? Clowns are terrifying.
Yes, I have a friend who
Super
loves clowns.
terrifying.
What?
She has a bunch of them hanging up, like paintings and stuff, in
Oh my
her
God.
house.
That
And her
sounds like
grandparents-
hell.
Her grandparents had a full-on clown room.
That is like a circle of hell for me. I know that Nick, clone Nick, feels the same way because she fucking hates clowns too. Clowns are horrible.
Yep.
I will die on this hill. Clowns are the worst. Anybody who likes clowns should be stopped. Should be stopped.
Okay.
Sorry, I really don't
Wow.
like clowns. They are terrifying.
Sorry to any of our listeners who like clowns.
No, not really.
No, not sorry at all. Don't like clowns. They're terrifying.
Anyway, can we wrap this clusterfuck up?
Please.
Have we actually talked about the episode?
I think mostly.
I don't
Do you
remember.
guys have anything else to say about that?
There was
that show?
for everybody who loves Way Hot, there was that scene where
Mhm.
she tells Winona, or Nicole tells Winona that Waverly scissored a stripper, and then they share that like smile smirk thing together.
Mhm. And the little wave.
Yeah,
It's
it's like
cute.
ooh, chemistry.
It's cute. Okay, but it's showing, not telling. And that's the difference between this show and Supergirl.
It's not screaming chemistry at you. It's just
Literally
like letting
saying,
it happen.
I see chemistry. Really? Because that's not what I see. Not between those two.
Supergirl is just like they could like put like captions on the bottom that just like is screaming chemistry. This show just lets it happen.
Yes.
And this has been We Hate Lena and James Together Corner.
Oh, God. The worst. Guardian Corp is the worst. The worst. Ugh.
What was
I
the
don't
ship
know.
name?
Guardian Corp?
I like the other one, but
Mm.
people have an issue with it.
I liked James as a character okay. They just don't know what to do with him. And they clearly don't understand Lena as a character because Lena would never date someone who treated her that way. Eventually, maybe, but not after like, oh, he works for me now and he's cute. Chemistry! Now I'm making out with him. Like, that's not how it works.
I like how you said eventually maybe, and in my head I was just like, that's a different way of saying maybe someday.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Not all about you.
So we had an email that's about this friggin' episode.
Really?
You should read it.
You should do that. Yeah, I
should
didn't
find
even
it.
realize. I'm really good at podcasting, guys. I'm so
Okay,
on top.
it's from Deb, who is someone on Twitter. Hold on.
DEBAGE01, is that right?
Yes, that is correct. DEBAGE01.
From memory, for those of you wondering.
Debage 01, is that? I wonder if she like pronounces it or not. Anyway, she said, I just have a couple quick comments about this episode. First of all, the Bro TP pairing of night. First of all, the Bro TP pairing of Nicole and Winona is everything. All caps, screaming. Second, best line, what do you mean you killed a stripper? And it was delivered so incredibly well by Melly
Melly
It's early in the
Stefanio.
morning.
And it was delivered. It's noon. It's almost 1 o'clock. Wow. And it was delivered so incredibly well by Melanie Scrofano. Third, the way hot look at the end while Waverly is on her front porch. Talk about that, please. That's screaming again. It just, my insides got all warm and I couldn't stop smiling every time I see that scene. I crack into my stupid grin. There's so much going on in those eyes and they look at each other. I just can't put it into words other than the words I just wrote.
She sounds like she belongs on this podcast.
She really does. She did our theme song. I mean, she's like part of us.
She is.
Keep up the great and amazing work. Enjoying every second of it. Didn't need to read that. No way I wasn't going to.
It was a good look, and they said a lot without saying anything. And, you know, Winona Earp is subtle in a lot of ways. Other ways, not so much. But in this way, I don't know. It is really good.
It's
I
either
liked it.
very subtle or like sledgehammer serious. Like there's
But
not
it
a
knows
lot
that
of in between.
It knows that it's being that way,
Oh, for sure.
which I like. Anything else?
No, please stop this.
I want to apologize for whatever ambient noise I just caused because Opal was having a moment. She almost knocked over a bunch of dishes and she jumped on me and she licked the mic again.
Why do you have dishes on your floor? Desk?
It's not on the floor. It's on the so my furnace was broken a while ago. And so I moved.
Do you
I
wash
moved-
You
dishes in
don't
your
have a
furnace?
generator, clearly.
They're not efficient.
And so I moved. So my house came with like a fake fireplace, and the people who owned it before me left a like space heater fireplace in the faux fireplace. Well, when my furnace went out and my house was at like 50 degrees, I brought said fireplace into whatever room I was in. So I'm like in my office right now, and I just haven't moved it back, but it's like desk height, so it's like an extra table. So I have like some dishes on there and like my work laptop and stuff. So she like bumped into that and almost knocked everything over. I have a fireplace and it like traveling with me. It's fine.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Please keep going. Please.
Honestly, thank you for listening.
Please.
If you made it this far, like, you deserve a fucking medal, okay?
This is a dumpster fire.
A hilarious dumpster fire.
I feel like most of it is my fault, and for that I don't apologize at all.
Honestly, I wouldn't want it any other way. This is probably going to go down in, quote, history as one of my favorite episodes that we've recorded.
It's great because I woke up with like a really bad headache and took a shit ton of Excedrin, and apparently now I'm just delirious.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye.
We're supposed to be doing like a bunch of Patreon shout outs.
We
like
will.
really need to get on that.
We will.
We should be more together when we do that. So this has been Something in the Air, a Winona Earp podcast. Thank you for listening. If you want to get a hold of us, Monica, go.
If you want to get a hold of us, you can find us on Twitter at ErpsplainPod. You can email us at somethinginair@gmail.com. You can leave us a voicemail at
678-871-0098.
I legitimately was going to say 8675309. Like 976-867-5309. Ask for Jenny. You can subscribe to us on iTunes or Google Play. If you liked this podcast or are
I'm so
amused by
sorry.
it, if you're amused by it, I mean, liked is strong. If you're amused by us, you can rate or review us at iTunes. That will help other people find us, which we would really appreciate. I mean, shouldn't everyone have the privilege of listening to this bullshit? It's pretty great. You can find me on Twitter at Lesbianzer.
You can find me on Twitter at McNick1291.
And BP at Beep33TV for all my rantings, or Erp Your Fandom for Winona related stuff.
You can visit our website, erpsplainpod.com, that has a link to our Patreon. It has a link to, or it has pages for all of our episodes, minisodes, Monica's Erp reviews, all of our contact information that we just rambled at you. And a link to our shop where we have awesome shirts that are not necessarily related to Winona Earp.
Nope, just a fan of t-shirts.
We just really like t-shirts. Nothing wrong with shirts. We are planning some new designs to have those go up in the shop soon, hopefully this month or next month. BP also has started a new podcast if you want to check that out.
BP, plug your podcast right now. Insert that here.
This is Plug Your Podcast Corner. Yeah, I did start a new podcast. It's called Permission to Be Human, and it actually focuses on mental health issues because that was something I was getting a lot of feedback on. It's something that's incredibly important to me, and yeah, so I just set on that endeavor. It's me and pretty much a guest host like every week talking about different things either they run into. I do have a couple friends who are actually counselors, but none of it is professional. It's, I mean, you've heard me. Good Lord. It's pretty much more of this bullshit. That's not true. It's a little bit more. Nope. That's anyway. So that is on Twitter at No Stigma Pod. Thank you,
Eventually, I will make my way onto that podcast.
Most
even if I have to like fight my way onto it. I'll be there. Obviously, that is why you would want to listen. My bullshit commentary.
Clearly.
Right, and Kathy will also bring that sizzle at some point.
Will she?
I mean, she doesn't really have a choice, so.
I was gonna say, like,
Good
it's
to
not
know.
optional.
I'll make a note. If you look at my blog, which is lesbianzer.com, you can find something that Michelle and I wrote last week about Supergirl and Lena Luthor. It's pretty fun. We didn't know, we kind of talked about it beforehand, but didn't talk specifics. We both speculate on what's going to happen to her the rest of the season. They are kind of similar. We both make like crude jokes about her sleeping with other characters. Neither of us planned, didn't know it was going to happen. Different characters too. So that's pretty fun if you want to check that out.
It really highlights our friendship. Like, we're really similar in a lot of ways. And then we're also vastly different in other ways.
Vastly different.
Actually, my mother read that post.
Oh shit. Seriously?
And her comment was, you and Monica are alike in so many ways, but you're also so different in so many ways. And I was like, that's a pretty spot on assessment.
I don't know.
I think
feel
your
about
mom
it.
should just do this podcast in the future.
We should just
Definitely.
have her on.
That would be great.
Hey, Mom, why don't you come on our podcast? If I get a text from her talking about this, I know she actually listened to this episode.
That'll be fun. We do have some fun minisodes planned. We're gonna I'm sure everybody saw the casting news that Megan Follows has been tapped for a big role in season 3. I can't wait to talk about that, and we're gonna have our friend of the podcast, special guest Heidi, come on and talk about that, hopefully.
It's going to be an episode of BP and Heidi. Monica and I will be listening, but not actually saying anything.
We're going to square off about Anne of Green Gables.
It's going to be amazing.
I anticipate winning that.
We will moderate that, but we won't be providing any actual input.
I also want to throw out that if you thought what you just listened to was a crazy shit show, you should hear the outtakes. If you do become one of our patrons on Patreon, one of the things we offer is it the $5 or $10 level? Anyway, one of the things we offer at one of the levels is outtakes. And we're gonna start putting that stuff out next week, hopefully.
We have some great outtakes from last week's episode.
Yeah, those are going up today.
I talk about cats a lot.
3 days ago.
I think a drafty beaver or something. I don't know.
You do talk about a drafty beaver. I forgot about that. Oh, that's our next t-shirt.
Somebody needs to censor me.
End this?
What?
Can we please end this?
So everyone remember, it may be a shit show, but it's our shit show. It's over.
Okay. Whew. That was rough.
And
that was a dumpster fire.
End the recording.
That was rough.